Deep beneath layers of rock, researchers uncovered artifacts from a civilization that history never recorded. These objects, untouched for thousands of years, challenge everything we thought we knew about the past. Who were these people, and why did they disappear without a trace? Join us as we delve into the secrets of this lost civilization and discover how caves hold the power to rewrite history. A sunken civilization. In 2000, marine engineer Pauline Zalitsky and her husband Paul Weinsweig were on a deep-sea survey near Cuba when they made a fascinating discovery. They were working with the Cuban government, using advanced sonar equipment to search for shipwrecks. But instead of sunken ships, they found something far more surprising. The sonar picked up images of large geometric shapes, structures that looked like pyramids, pathways, and what seemed to be buildings. These formations appeared to resemble man-made structures, sparking debate about whether they could represent the ruins of a once thriving city. This underwater site, located about 2,000 feet below the surface, has puzzled researchers and sparked many theories. Some scientists believe the ruins could be linked to the ancient Maya, whose civilization was advanced in architecture and technology. Others suggest they might belong to the indigenous people of Cuba, who lived there long before modern history was recorded. A third theory proposes that this civilization might not be connected to any known culture, instead representing a lost population that existed tens of thousands of years ago. One reason this discovery is so mysterious is its depth. The depth of these structures raises questions about how they might have been built when the area was above sea level. Some scientists think the area might have been above water during the Ice Age when sea levels were much lower. If that's true, this civilization could be as old as 50,000 years, making it older than the pyramids of Egypt. Others suggest a catastrophic event, such as an earthquake or massive flooding, caused the land to sink suddenly, taking the city with it. The lost civilization. Mount Roraima, a massive tabletop mountain in Venezuela, is home to one of the most intriguing archaeological discoveries in South America. This remote and towering formation, shrouded in mist and surrounded by steep cliffs, has long been a place of mystery. Recently, scientists uncovered 20 sites of ancient rock art near the mountain, offering glimpses into a lost civilization that lived there thousands of years ago. The rock art, believed to be around 4,000 years old, includes images of humans, geometric shapes, and star-like designs. These artworks suggest that the people who lived near Mount Roraima may have had some understanding of astronomy. While the meaning behind the symbols is not yet fully understood, they provide valuable clues about the culture, rituals, and daily lives of these ancient inhabitants. Accessing Mount Roraima and its surrounding area is extremely challenging. Its sheer cliffs and thick forests make it one of the most isolated places in the world. Reaching the rock art sites requires navigating treacherous terrain and unpredictable weather conditions. This isolation has kept the region largely untouched, preserving the rock art and the natural environment in a pristine state. For scientists and explorers, the difficulty of reaching these sites adds to their mystique. The artwork found at Mount Roraima seems to share some similarities with other prehistoric rock art in South America. It's possible that the people of Mount Roraima migrated to other regions or exchanged ideas with neighboring groups. The art might reflect shared beliefs, practices, or knowledge about the stars and the natural world. Crocodile Cave. In the state of Andhra Pradesh, India, archaeologists discovered a group of caves with prehistoric artwork dating back about 7,000 years. These caves, referred to as Crocodile Cave, contained fascinating carvings and drawings, many of which focused on crocodiles. The artwork included dozens of images, some small and others life-sized, drawn in red ochre, a natural pigment used by ancient people. The drawings showed crocodiles in various forms, suggesting that these creatures held a special place in the lives of the people who lived there. The significance of crocodiles to this ancient civilization has intrigued researchers. One possibility is that crocodiles were an important food source. The people of this time were likely hunter-gatherers who relied on the animals around them for survival. Crocodiles, being large and potentially abundant in nearby rivers or wetlands, might have provided a valuable source of meat, bones, and skin. Another theory is that crocodiles were seen as spiritual or symbolic creatures. In many cultures around the world, crocodiles have been associated with power, danger, and water. They may have been worshipped as protective spirits or feared as beings connected to the unknown. The life-size depiction of a crocodile in the cave could have been part of a ritual or a way to honor the animal. There is also the possibility that crocodiles symbolize something deeper, like the relationship between humans and nature. The artwork may have served as a way to show respect for the creatures that lived alongside them, emphasizing their role in the ecosystem. Interestingly, the region where these caves are found is now dry, and crocodiles no longer live there. This suggests that the environment was very different 7,000 years ago, with rivers or wetlands supporting both humans and wildlife. The discovery of Crocodile Cave gives us a glimpse into how people adapted to their surroundings and the animals they valued most. The first sorcerers. In southeastern Australia, a cave known as Clogg's Cave revealed an incredible discovery that has changed the way we understand ancient spiritual practices. Archaeologists studying the cave found evidence of rituals that date back over 12,000 years, making it one of the earliest known examples of human sorcery. These rituals were performed by the Aboriginal people and were part of their deep connection to the spiritual world. This connection was passed down through generations, continuing until colonial times. One of the most fascinating rituals uncovered in the cave involved a tool called the Mula Mulong stick. The process started with a sorcerer obtaining something personal from their intended target, such as a strand of hair or a piece of fabric. This was carefully tied to the end of a stick, which was then smeared with kangaroo fat, or sometimes human fat. The stick, now charged with intent, was driven upright into the ground near a small fire. The sorcerer would chant the victim's name while focusing their energy on the stick. This chanting could go on for hours. Finally, when the stick fell into the fire and started to burn, it was believed the spell was cast, bringing misfortune or harm to the target. What makes this discovery so remarkable is how it aligns with oral histories recorded by Europeans when they first arrived in Australia. Aboriginal communities shared stories of similar rituals, showing a continuity of spiritual practices that spanned thousands of years. Archaeologists even found a 12,000-year-old stick in the cave that matched descriptions of the Mula Mulong, confirming the ritual's authenticity. Clogg's Cave also contained other clues about ancient spiritual practices. Archaeologists uncovered smashed crystals, ceremonial stone arrangements, and traces of pigments used in rituals. These findings suggest that the cave was a sacred space for performing various ceremonies. Cave of the Apocalypse. On the Greek island of Patmos, there is a small cave that holds a big place in Christian history. Known as the Cave of the Apocalypse, it is said to be where St. John received the visions that inspired the book of Revelation, the final and one of the most dramatic chapters of the Bible. This cave, despite its modest size, became a sacred site because of its deep connection to John's prophetic writings. The story begins around 95 AD when St. John was exiled to Patmos by the Roman Emperor Domitian. At that time, the Romans exiled people they saw as threats, including those who claimed to have prophetic powers. Patmos was a rocky, remote island, and John, along with others, was sent there to live in isolation. It was during this period of exile that John spent time in the cave, praying and reflecting. According to Christian tradition, it was in this cave that John had a series of powerful visions. He described hearing a voice coming from a crack in the cave's wall, which he believed to be the voice of God. These visions were vivid and detailed, depicting the end of the world, the final battle between good and evil, and the creation of a new heaven and earth. The writings became the Book of Revelation, a text that has profoundly influenced Christian theology and thought. Over the centuries, the cave has been transformed into a sacred site. Today, it is protected by a white-walled monastery built around it. Inside, visitors can see the stone where John is said to have rested his head, and the crack in the wall where he reportedly heard God's voice. Pilgrims from around the world come to the cave to reflect on its significance and feel closer to this piece of Christian history. Olsztyn Castle. Olsztyn Castle in southern Poland, built in the 14th century, is a historical fortress with an unexpected secret beneath its foundations. During an archaeological study, researchers discovered caves beneath the castle that were once used as shelters by Neanderthals. These ancient human relatives may have lived in the caves more than 40,000 years ago, making this discovery a fascinating link between prehistoric times and the medieval era. The caves likely served as safe havens for Neanderthals during harsh weather, or as sites for everyday activities like tool making and food preparation. Over time, the caves were hidden beneath layers of history, eventually lying under the medieval fortress built by King Casimir III. It remains unclear whether the castle builders knew about the prehistoric shelters, but the discovery adds a new layer of significance to the site. This connection between the Neanderthals and the castle raises interesting questions about how spaces evolve over time. Could the caves have influenced the decision to build a fortress there? Or were they simply buried and forgotten as history moved forward? The discovery hints at a continuity of human use, showing how the same location served different needs over tens of thousands of years. What's even more intriguing are the voids deep below the castle that remain unexplored. Archaeologists suspect there may be more caves, tunnels, or artifacts hidden in these uncharted spaces. These voids could contain tools, bones, or even evidence of rituals performed by Neanderthals. They might also hold clues about how the caves were used during the medieval period. Buried treasure. Anne Jargo, an adventurer and longtime resident of New Zealand, has spent decades uncovering incredible prehistoric treasures near the Waitomo Caves. These caves, located in the King Country region, are part of a vast network of underground tunnels and chambers made of limestone. This unique landscape has preserved the remains of ancient creatures, offering a glimpse into a world that existed long before humans arrived in New Zealand. Anne's discoveries include the bones of extinct moa birds, giant flightless birds that once roamed the land but disappeared hundreds of years ago. Some of these moa skeletons were so large that they dwarfed the children exploring the caves with her. She also found remains of other fascinating creatures, like the critically endangered kakapo, a parrot that was more common in prehistoric times, and even fossilized traces of giant snails. These finds were often stumbled upon in the hidden corners of the caves, tucked away from the outside world for centuries. The Waitomo region is known for its geological features, such as glowworm-lit caves and limestone formations. These natural conditions create the perfect environment for preserving history. When animals or plants became trapped in the caves, the cool, stable temperatures and the protective limestone helped keep their remains intact for thousands of years. This preservation allows scientists to study not only the animals themselves, but also the environment they live in. Underground London. Beneath the busy streets of London lies a network of tunnels, caves, and hidden chambers that weave together the city's ancient and modern history. From prehistoric times to the Cold War, these underground spaces have been used for many purposes, each layer adding to London's rich and mysterious story. Some of the most intriguing tunnels come from the Cold War era, when secret bunkers were built to protect government officials and sensitive communication equipment. One famous example is the Postmaster General's Tunnel, a hidden passageway under Whitehall designed to keep critical systems running during an atomic bomb attack. It connects to a larger network of bunkers and tunnels, some of which remain inaccessible to the public, sparking curiosity and speculation about their possible purposes. London's underground also has its eerie side, with numerous ghost stories tied to the tunnels. One haunting tale involves Bethnal Green Station. During World War II, this deep underground station was used as an air raid shelter. Tragically, a panicked stampede during a false alarm in 1943 led to the deaths of 173 people. Today, some say they still hear faint cries or feel a strange chill in the station. Other stories, like shadowy figures spotted in abandoned tunnels, add to the underground's spooky reputation. But the history of London's underground goes back much further. The Chislehurst Caves, located just outside the city, have prehistoric origins. These caves were used by ancient people thousands of years ago, possibly for shelter or rituals. Over time, the caves were expanded for chalk mining and later served as a shelter during World War II air raids. Their deep, twisting passages and mysterious carvings make them a fascinating part of London's history. Neolithic rituals. In northern Jordan's Zaka River Valley, archaeologists uncovered a remarkable site that sheds light on humanity's relationship with death in ancient times. This Neolithic village, dating back around 10,000 years, contained unusual artifacts that offered a glimpse into burial rituals and ancestor worship. Among the findings were violin-shaped figurines carved from flint. These objects stood out because they resembled human forms and appeared to have a connection to the dead. These figurines were likely used in rituals involving burial and exhumation. Researchers believe that after a body was buried, parts of it, like the skull or other bones, were later dug up and reburied in a different way. The figurines may have been symbolic representations of the deceased, used in ceremonies to honor their memory or maintain a spiritual connection. This practice of ancestor worship suggests that the people in this village saw death as more than just the end of life. It was a way to keep ties with those who had passed. What makes this site particularly important is how it reflects the cultural transition from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to settled farming communities. As people shifted to agriculture, they began to live in permanent settlements, which likely changed how they thought about their connection to the land and their ancestors. Maintaining ties to the dead might have been a way to strengthen their sense of community and identity. It also shows how spiritual beliefs evolved alongside these changes in lifestyle. Extinct cave bear. In Siberia's remote Lyakovsky Islands, reindeer herders stumbled upon something incredible: a frozen adult cave bear. Encased in ice for tens of thousands of years, the bear's body was astonishingly well preserved. Its nose, teeth, and even internal organs were intact, providing researchers with an opportunity to learn more about this extinct species than ever before. Scientists from the Northeastern Federal University have taken the remains for study. Cave bears lived during the Ice Age and shared the planet with other massive creatures like mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and woolly rhinos. Fully grown males could weigh as much as 2,200 pounds, making them much larger than most modern bears. They roamed parts of Europe and Asia until their extinction around 15,000 years ago. Their disappearance is believed to have been caused by climate changes and competition with humans for shelter in caves. Until recently, scientists only had skeletal remains to study. This new discovery allows them to examine soft tissues and possibly extract DNA. Genetic material could reveal how these bears adapted to their environment and what made them unique. Researchers plan to compare this adult bear's DNA to that of a cave bear cub found frozen in a separate location. Japan's ancient pyramid. Japan is home to many ancient mysteries, including fascinating megaliths. Among these is the Mount Ashitaka Pyramid, which some believe could be one of the oldest pyramid structures in the world. Its exact origins are debated. Local legends link it to Emperor Jimmu, said to be Japan's first emperor, who, according to myth, founded the nation in 660 BCE. However, archaeologists are unsure of when or why this pyramid-like structure was built. The story of Japan's early history becomes even more intriguing when considering the Jomon culture, which thrived around 16,000 years ago. These early inhabitants of the Japanese islands were skilled hunter-gatherers and early farmers. They created advanced pottery, bone jewelry, and tools. One of their most puzzling creations was the dogu figurine. Made from clay, these small statues have odd, exaggerated features like large eyes and short arms. Scientists still don't know their exact purpose, though some speculate they had religious or symbolic significance. Some researchers even wonder if an advanced civilization existed in Japan before the Jomon era, citing the precision of the megalithic structures as evidence. Such theories remain unproven, but add to the mystery. Japan has other unexplained ancient sites, such as the Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Okinawa. This massive underwater structure has caused debate about whether it's man-made or a natural formation. The lack of definitive answers makes it another piece of the puzzle when studying Japan's distant past. Mammoth Cave. Mammoth Cave in Kentucky is the longest cave system in the world, with over 400 miles of explored tunnels. It's not just a natural wonder, but also a site rich in human history, holding stories that date back thousands of years. The first known people to use Mammoth Cave arrived about 12,000 years ago. They left behind tools and petroglyphs, marking their presence deep within the cave. Later, different groups used it as shelter and for various purposes. During the War of 1812, Mammoth Cave became an essential site for mining saltpeter, an ingredient in gunpowder. Enslaved people worked tirelessly to extract and process the material, shaping the cave's history in the process. Over time, the cave revealed even more secrets. In the 1800s, explorers discovered pre-Columbian mummies and ancient artifacts. The dry conditions of the cave helped preserve these remains, giving archaeologists a glimpse into the lives of people who lived thousands of years ago. One of the most fascinating finds was a mummy crushed under a 2-ton rock. This tragic event happened in pre-Columbian times when the rock fell from above. Remarkably, the body was naturally preserved by the cave's unique environment. In the 1930s, researchers moved the rock to examine the mummy more closely and placed it on display for visitors. though modern preservation rules have since changed. Turtle Graveyard. Off the coast of Borneo lies an underwater cave system known as Turtle Graveyard. This eerie site is filled with the skeletons of sea turtles that met an unfortunate fate. Despite its beauty, the cave's intricate maze of chambers and corridors has claimed the lives of many turtles over the years. Sea turtles, like other air-breathing creatures, sometimes enter the cave, possibly looking for shelter or food. However, the underwater labyrinth is disorienting. Once inside, it can be difficult for them to find their way back out. Unable to surface and breathe, the turtles eventually run out of air and die in the depths of the cave. The Turtle Graveyard became widely known in the 1980s when famed ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau documented it during one of his expeditions. He and his team discovered numerous turtle skeletons scattered throughout the cave while filming a documentary. Cousteau initially suggested that aging turtles might have traveled there intentionally to die, but later research pointed to disorientation as the likely cause. In 2019, the cave gained attention again when photographer Josh Vergara captured images of the site. These haunting photos, showing the remains of turtles in various stages of decay, highlighted the dangers of the cave for marine life. The images quickly spread, sparking interest in this mysterious underwater site. Cave of the Jaguar God. In 2019, archaeologists rediscovered the Balamku Cave, also called the Cave of the Jaguar God, in the ancient Maya city of Chichen Itza. The cave had been sealed off for over 50 years after its initial discovery by an archaeologist named Victor Segovia Pinto. For reasons still unclear, Segovia recorded the site's location but left it unexplored and closed. When the cave was reopened, researchers found more than 150 artifacts that had been untouched for over 1,000 years. These included vases, plates, and incense burners, many bearing sacred symbols. The artifacts were remarkably well preserved, offering a rare opportunity to learn about ancient Maya rituals. Caves like Balamku were sacred to the Maya, who believed they were portals to the underworld. They used these spaces for religious ceremonies, offering items to their gods in hopes of ensuring good harvests and protection. The objects found in the cave provide a glimpse into these spiritual practices and the Maya's deep connection to their environment. Modern exploration techniques, such as 3D mapping, have been crucial in studying Balamku. These tools allow researchers to document the cave's layout and artifacts in detail without causing damage. By combining traditional archaeology with advanced technology, experts can gather more information about Maya history and culture. Some archaeologists speculate that the findings in Balamku could provide insights into the decline of Chichen Itza. The rituals performed in the cave could reveal how the city's leaders tried to address challenges like droughts or social unrest. While much remains uncertain, Balamku offers a unique window into the lives and beliefs of the Maya people, making it an essential discovery in understanding their ancient civilization. Mogao Caves. The Mogao Caves are a series of hand-carved caves in the desert of northwestern China, located along the historic Silk Road. These caves, also known as the Caves of the Thousand Buddhas, were created starting in 366 AD and became a treasure trove of Buddhist art over the next 1,000 years. The caves served as temples, meditation spaces, and repositories for religious texts and art. Over time, they grew into a complex of 500 caves, filled with thousands of murals and sculptures depicting scenes from Buddhist teachings and everyday life. Patrons, including monks, wealthy merchants, and local rulers, supported the creation of this art, turning the Mogao Caves into a vibrant center of spirituality and culture. The site was rediscovered in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, sparking global interest. One of the most significant finds was the Dunhuang manuscripts, a collection of around 50,000 documents hidden in a sealed-off chamber known as the Library Cave. These texts, written in multiple languages like Chinese, Sanskrit, and Tibetan, provide invaluable insights into the religious, cultural, and economic life along the Silk Road. The paintings and sculptures in the caves reveal the mingling of cultures facilitated by the Silk Road. Buddhist themes dominate, but there are also influences from other religions like Taoism and Christianity, as well as artistic styles from Central Asia, India, and the Mediterranean. Thanks to the dry desert climate, much of this art and history has been preserved. Today, the Mogao Caves are studied by researchers worldwide, offering a remarkable look at how diverse cultures intersected and thrived along one of history's most important trade routes. And that wraps up our journey into the ancient mysteries hidden in caves. If you enjoyed learning about these mysteries, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share the video, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's mysteries.